Hi guys, it's Norma again. I am back because I was finally able to get my father's DNA results. So there is questionable doubt here now when it comes to these home test kits. So I'll just start off with going over my previous results, and then I'll give you my father's results. So I had always suspected that my father was not black because his skin is very, very light, almost white. I suspected that he had a little bit of black in him, but not as much as he claimed. So I did his kit in early November. They received it November 17th. His results was ready 6 days later on the 23rd. So prior to having my father's results, I received my results about um August 23rd, I believe I received my results. And I come back to be 54.7% African. I was 43.5% European, 0.9% East Asian and Native American, which consisted of 0.6 Native American, 0.1% Filipino and Austronesian, 0.2 broadly East Asian and Native American. So, with me being 43% European and 54.7% African, I figured my father had to be about 86% European because you get 50% from your mother and 50% from your father, right? Well, let's log in here. Let's see if we can get to his results. First, I'll go with his results. And let's see what we can do. Oh, it's a little difficult to work. So here we are now. And I wish I could show you guys, but for some reason, you're unable to see it because of the brightness of the screen. It just blurs everything out. But here's my father's results. His name is Noton Ruggiero. Born and raised in Louisiana, Starks, Louisiana to be precise. Both of his parents were from Starks, Louisiana. His father's name was Matthew Ruggiero. His mother's name was Florence Ruggiero. And her maiden name was Bradley. Gradley, I think it was Gradley. Florence Gradley. But anyways, I never met either of them. They passed on, I believe, before I was born. But my father come back to be 61.3% European and 35.6% sub-Saharan African. So for me to be 43 point, what was it, 7% 43.5% European, how is it that my father, my biological father, because he did show up on here to be my biological father, that we shared 50% DNA? So how is it that my father, guys, is 61.3% European and I'm 43 point and I'm 43.5% European is my original results, right? The fuck. Okay? If you get 50 from your mother and father, if I got 50, half of my dad's European and half is African, I should have been over 60% African. Okay? Because I should have been 30% European because half of it coming from my father, 61% European, and then I should have been about 65% sub-Saharan African because half coming from my father, the 35.6, and then of course 50% from my mother. She's extremely dark with cotton texture hair. Both of her parents are extremely dark with cotton texture hair. Okay, so I'm pretty sure mother is 100% African. Okay, so my dad has 1.1% East Asian and Native American, consisting of 0.8% Native American, 0.2% broadly Northern Asian, and Northern and Native American. So I'm guessing that's all Native American, really. He has 0.5% West Asian and North African, which is from the Arabian Peninsula. And he had South Asian, 0.1%, 1.5% unassigned. So as we go to my updated results, after I connected with my father, let's read my new results. So here it says your ancestry composition results were updated because you connected with your biological parent. With a parent or child connected, we are able to provide more accurate results due to a process called phasing. So here we are after connecting with my biological father, not my biological mother yet because her results are not ready yet. Okay, so now it says I'm 55% Sub-Saharan African instead of the 54.7. Okay, then going to the European, instead of 43.5 European, I'm still 43%, but not 43.5. It went down by 2 points. 43.3% European. Now tell me, how can my father, my biological father, be 61% European and I am still 43.3% European after connecting with him? How could I have ever been 43% European in the first place if my father is 61% European? Here it shows up to 1.1% East Asian and Native American. My father and I both had the same exact percentage there. I think we had the exact same percentage in South Asian, 0.1%. There are two things that popped up here that wasn't found on my father's ancestry, but it was in my daughter's and mine's as it updated, but prior it was not. Indonesia, Thai, Khmer, and Myanmar. I don't know how to pronounce that. Too much of that weird pronunciation for me. So that popped up all of a sudden, 0.1%, but it wasn't in my father's. Filipino and Austronesian, 0.1%, was there prior to my update, but it's not in my father's. So I'm not sure if we inherited from our grandparents on his side, or possibly we inherited from my mother's side, because we haven't received her results yet. Western Asia and North African and Arabian, the Arabian Peninsula, same amount as my father. And then I have 0.4% unassigned. Prior, I had 0.9% unassigned. So, everything on here, other than a couple things that were like 0.1%, two of them, everything matches what showed up in my father's bloodline. Everything. The exact same thing that I have, he have. Percentage differences slightly, but everything that I have, he had. I'm guessing I inherit possibly more of my father's DNA than I did my mother. I'm guessing because you do inherit 25% from your grandparents. So maybe that 25% that I inherit from my grandparents had something to do with me coming out more European than I should have, um, in comparison with 50% of DNA from both parents. So I'm a little bit confused on that. So I'm still waiting on my son's results. So his haven't come in yet. Now, if I log out of here, I'm going to go to my daughter's results. Her father, biological father, is African American. His father was from Nigeria, and so was his mother. So, with me being 43% European, my daughter would come out half that, which is exactly what happened with her. That's why I'm so confused on what's going on with me and my dad's. So I'm going to my daughter's so we can go over hers real quick and compare hers to the percentage calculation as far as 50% shared DNA with your parents. Um, so as I mentioned, is from her father's father is from Nigeria, and so is his mother. So, but he was born in America. So my daughter results, she come out. Her name is Diamond, and she come out 73% sub-Saharan African, which my prior results for African before my update after connecting with my father was the 54.7. So of course, with her father, she getting 50% from him being all African, except he had 5% European in him, and getting 50% from me, which I had 54.7. Hers will be accurate on what she come back as African. She had 73%. She did connect with both me and her father on 23andMe, and her results were updated as well, but very, very slightly. She went from being 26.5, I believe, European to 25.8% European. So a very, very slight change in her European, and she went from being 72% African to 73% African. So a very, very small change in hers after connecting with both me and her father. Okay, my daughter has 0.5% East Asian and Native American. And remember, I had 1.1 just like my father. So half of that would go to her 0.5. And this is her results being updated before my father's results came in. South Asian, she had 0.1%, the exact same percentage as both my father and I have. Okay, and broadly South Asian 0.1%. She got 0.5% unassigned. Now, what's crazy is that whenever my father results came in, we're all connected under one account. Okay, my daughter is under a separate account, her father is under a separate account. Maybe that had something to do with it, I'm not sure. But whenever my father's results came in, my father, when I went to his account and went to his DNA relatives, I popped up immediately showing as his daughter, that they predicted I was his daughter, that we share 50% DNA. My daughter popped up under his DNA relatives, that he shared 26 or 27% DNA with her, as well as he popped up under her DNA relative list. But they both showed as he was her uncle, she was his niece. And of course they shared 25% DNA, but they shared can't remember how many segments they shared, but the segments and the DNA percentage is what they will predict you as. And so I know that uncles, aunts, nieces, nephews, and they share the same DNA, and half siblings. They share the same DNA percentage. So the segments that they share in DNA will allow you to predict their relationship. So I knew that was what that problem was, so it was no big deal. Now, however, when I searched for my father under my DNA relative list, he didn't appear. Okay, so like I said, my father did not appear under my DNA relative list at all. I even filtered it so that I could search his name and see if he would pop up. He did not pop up at all. It said no results. So I was very confused on how I can sign into my father's account and I would pop up as his daughter under his DNA relative list, but he did not pop up under my DNA relative list. My daughter popped up under his DNA relative list as well whenever um I did her results came in long after I did mine, and she popped up under my list as well as I popped up under her list. Okay, whenever her father's results came in, he popped up under her list and she popped up under his list. So I'm very confused on all of this whole I'm 43 although I connected with my biological father and he's 61% European. How can I be 43? Why did he not pop up under my list? But I did pop up under his list, and so did my daughter. I did contact 23andMe. They never responded to the matter of the 43% European versus my father's 61% European. Uh, they never responded to the whole DNA relative list of why I popped up under his profile, but he didn't pop up under my list under my profile. But a couple days later, he ended up popping up. And I guess and that's because I had contacted them about it. They were able to go back and see that I was under his and shared 50% DNA with him. So apparently he was my father. So I guess they went and fixed that problem. So that this still comes out to be very crazy to me how I would have ever in the first place had 43% European in my DNA if my biological father is only 61% European. Something just don't add up about that. And then how do these other ethnicities that were not there before pop up all of a sudden because I connected with my biological father? To me, it doesn't make sense. If that's what's in my DNA, why wouldn't it pop up to begin with? I shouldn't have to connect with a relative, with a parent, in order for my ethnicity, what's already in my DNA, to pop up, to show up. I don't see that that should be a case ever. You should not have to connect with anyone for your DNA to tell who you are. They use DNA to catch murderers, to catch rapists, to catch people who commit crime. They use fingerprints and they use blood to determine your DNA. When they find a body that is decayed so bad that they can't tell whether it's male or female and how it died and whatnot, they are able to use DNA to determine if this is a male or female, what nationality they are, how long ago they died, what was the last meal that they consumed. If they're able to do all of that, how come my DNA results are not able to tell me from the start what my ethnicity was and tell me a proper percentage? And how come I have to connect with a biological parent in order for it to tell me things that weren't there before? It just doesn't make sense to me. So you guys listen carefully to what I said and you tell me what you think. What is your explanation on all of this? How do you think this is possible, or do you think there's something fraudulent about the whole ordeal? Give me your opinion.